Hi everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, medical doctor. Welcome to another video. One dynamic which absolutely flabbergasts me, I do not understand it, in the United States with regards to politics, obviously a lot of political things are going on right now in the USA, is how one political party is completely uninterested in the metabolic health catastrophe afflicting adults and children alike. And it prompted me to put out this tweet, which was widely shared. I simply don't get it. Somebody please help me. The health of America's adults and kids and their systemic poisoning by a toxic food system should be a bipartisan issue. Why do no Democrat politicians, the supposed party of caring and equality, appear to give about this issue? Not a single one. It's exclusively Republicans right now that are discussing the catastrophe of America's metabolic health and addressing some root cause solutions, not based on trash from Big Pharma. Can somebody please explain to me why Democrats couldn't care less about this critical issue? Well, yes, indeed, it is so bizarre. Because traditionally, one would think that it is the right who would be more affiliated with corporations and big business. At least that's how it worked for decades. And it would be the left who were more interested in, quote unquote, going back to nature. Weren't they the party of hippies back in the 60s and 70s, rejecting a lot of what pharmaceutical companies were doing for a long time? But that has all shifted, and I received some very interesting replies, hundreds of replies, all about corporate capture of the left. How on earth did the left become the party of fulfilling the agenda of the establishment, whoever is funding them? What a reversal we have had. Because right now, it is the right in the United States that is making this more of an issue. And I do believe that Robert Kennedy Jr., RFK, has had a big effect on this movement. But the truth is that many on the right were already talking about this, senators and congressmen, and I really don't understand how this isn't a bipartisan issue. Let me share some of the messages with you from members of the Republican Party, and it is good that this is gaining more traction at the highest levels of government. Because as far as I'm concerned, and my own mission, I couldn't care less which political party is talking about it as long as one political party is. Take a look at some of these folks here. Well, here we have Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, just had a great lunch with RFK Jr. The people who manufacture poisons that end up in our food should not be in charge of telling us which poisons can be in our food. End corruption in government, reform FDA, USDA, and CDC so people have real choices. And here we have Matt Gaetz, sharing, watch this to learn how you are poisoned. And he is sharing a very important video from Casey Means. And that leads me to the next hero on the political level of this movement, Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, who has made this an issue for some time. And he chaired a historic roundtable in Washington, D.C. last week with leading doctors in the field of metabolic health and wellness, other expert voices, talking about what's going on and proposing some root cause solutions. And one of the speakers was the excellent Dr. Casey Means. So thank you to Senator Ron Johnson for making this a real issue. And of course, as you might expect, there's a lot of pushback against this. Many members of the establishment, many different authorities are not happy at all that there is now more of a movement for the health and well-being of millions of American citizens. How will they profit if people are well? As you might expect, the mainstream media is not happy at all that this is being discussed in Washington, D.C., as are many doctors in the online realm, those big pharma shill doctors. How, again, will they profit if people become well? These are the forces working against us. Take a look at this here. The Atlantic quickly published a piece after that historic roundtable. The Woo-Woo Caucus meets. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s appearance at a health and nutrition event hosted by a Trump ally showcased a congruence of crunchy and cranky. Yes, of course, we expect nothing less from the mainstream media. They will quickly label anybody who wants to focus on root causes as being anti-science. It threatens their profit. And that is what I mean when I've said before, I really believe that there are few more sinister forces in the world than the US mainstream media. I really mean that when you look at the agenda, the sort of things that they push. I mean, let's look at history over the last 100 years. Even if you look at the Reich's Ministry of Propaganda in the 1930s, Pravda, the Soviet newspaper, or even the Stasi, the East German secret police, as terrible as they were, at least they didn't want their population to be sick and weak. They wanted their population to be strong. It may have been because they wanted them to fight, but at least they didn't want their people to be sick. The mainstream media and the US establishment are on a different level of badness, in that they would gladly throw their own population under the bus to make a buck. And I leave you with that thought, but at least now there is more of a political momentum developing for addressing this true crisis that we have on our hands. Thanks everyone for watching. Dr. Suneel Dhand. Let me know your thoughts down below. Check out my website and my health programs. Those links are in the description. Hit the like button if you like this video and the bell button for more similar videos in the future. We will speak again very soon.